Indian ancestry is a touchy topic for discussions, not just in academic circles but also during tea time conversations. And this problem is only intensified with echo chambers, fake news spreading on social media, and also beliefs that prevent you from, which make you impenetrable for new facts and findings. In the light of the above, author Tony Joseph has written a scientific account which is a proper book which will tell you about Indian ancestry. Hi, this is Gautam, and for this episode, we'll be looking at this book, Early Indians by author Tony Joseph. Now, this book was published in the year 2018, and after that, there were 2 or 3 research papers also. So, there is an article in the Hindu magazine which was published in 2019 September. Based on one more research paper. So I'm going to have the hyperlink of the article in the description. So if you're interested, you can read related articles on this topic. The first few chapters lay the essential groundwork which is required for appreciating the others. The author discusses the limitations of human migration, what is genetic dispersal, what is genetic drift. He also establishes the essential science associated with genes, why mitochondrial DNA and Y chromosomes are important for tracing the ancestry of individuals and how they can be used for determining the direction of migration also. Presently, all modern humans, that is the Homo sapiens, were descendants of the out of Africa migration. Now, even though modern humans have tried to move out of Africa, they were not able to leave a distinct lineage, maybe because the initial migrations were not successful. But the successful migration was 70,000 years ago, which moved out of Africa. And around 65,000 years ago, you have the modern humans which left descendants arriving in the Indian subcontinent. Now, after explaining these out of Africa migrations, the author also provides a hypothesis on how the modern humans could have reached Australia before Europe based on climate data. Preceding the chapter which describes the Harappan civilization, we have a chapter dedicated to the first Indian farmers. And based on DNA evidences, the author writes that the first Indian farmers or the farmers of the Indian subcontinent migrated from Iran, and he goes on in very good detail in describing Mehrgarh, which is presently in the Balochistan province of Pakistan, and the excavations have provided enough enough archaeological equipments to determine how exactly agriculture and farming could have been done by the first farmers. The discussion on the Harappan civilization is even more elaborate, not just on architecture and town planning, but we also have detailed discussions on what could have been the language or the different attempts at deciphering the Harappan seals, because even today we do not know what exactly is the language. That section is still called proto-history. We're unable to decipher it. And also on what could have been the possible form of government. So several aspects related to Harappan civilization are described in detail with pictures. The chapter before the epilogue is titled The Last Migrants, Aryans. Now, author describes again, with evidences of course, that an out of India migration is ruled out based on the genetic evidences. Now, he describes a group of people called the Yamnaya who was supposed to have populated the steppe region between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. And this population migrated to both the European continent and the Indian subcontinent. So he draws parallels on the possible consequences after this last migration. Now, reading the book through several chapters in the change over time, you understand how rich India's cultural diversity and the ancestors are, and how short-sighted and myopic that the discussions and today's contemporary divisions based on religion, language, caste, etc. are. The writing exhibits scholarship and is filled with simple examples even for certain difficult scientific concepts. Now, for certain sections of the book where he really needs to drive the point to the reader, the author uses a question-answer method where the unlikely possibilities are weeded out and he builds on the likely possibilities. And this book should be on everyone's shelf, and I just like to read a passage from the last page, that is the climax. So that it's titled like this: so who are we Indians really? The best way we can define ourselves is a multi-source civilization, not a single source one, drawing its cultural impulses, its traditions and its practices from a variety of heredities and migration histories. The out of Africa migrants, the fearless pioneering explorers who reached this land around 65 millennia ago and whose lineages still form the bedrock of our population. Those who arrived from West Asia and contributed to the agricultural revolution and the building of the Harappan civilization, which then became the crucible for new practices, concepts and the Dravidian languages that enrich much of our culture today. Those who came from East Asia, bringing with them new languages and plants and farming techniques, and those who migrated from Central Asia, carrying an early version, what would become a great language, Sanskrit, and all its associated beliefs and practices that have reshaped our society in fundamental ways, and those who came even later, seeking refuge or for conquest or for trade, and then chose to stay, all have mingled and contributed to this civilization which we call Indian. We are all Indians and we are all migrants. That's it for now. Meet you with the next book soon. Bye.